If a war were to break out in the Taiwan Strait, the PLA would not overlook Taiwan's 333rd Brigade, and long-standing historical grievances would resurface. In recent years, cross-strait tensions have grown increasingly tense. PLA aircraft and naval vessels operating around Taiwan have become routine, and live-fire exercises have lit up the waters of the strait. Taiwan's military units remain on high alert. Among them, one unit stands out in particular, the 333rd Brigade under the Kinmen Defense Command. This unit is stationed on Kinmen Island, only a few kilometers from Xiamen, with approximately 4,000 personnel. It is equipped with around 40 M60A3 tanks and 122mm howitzers and other aging weapons that date back decades. If conflict were to erupt, the PLA would likely prioritize the 333rd Brigade, and past historical tensions would once again come into focus. So why has this seemingly ordinary unit become such a focal point? The 333rd Brigade is not an ordinary unit. Its historical lineage can be traced back to the nationalist forces. During the Civil War period, it was connected to the Army's 333rd Infantry Division, whose predecessor was the 11th Division reorganized from the National Revolutionary Army's 2nd Division. During the Chinese Civil War, the 11th Division was one of the Nationalists' 5 main forces, well-equipped and known for strong combat capability. It engaged in multiple major battles against communist forces, leaving deep marks in history. In the 1948 Jinan Campaign, the 11th Division defended the outskirts of Jinan, holding back advancing forces and contributing to heavy casualties before the city was eventually taken. In late 1948, during the Huaihai Campaign, the division resisted fiercely around Zhuzhou, slowing the offensive and resulting in significant losses on both sides. In May 1949, during the Shanghai Campaign, the 11th Division conducted determined counterattacks from outer defensive positions, making the urban assault extremely challenging. The most significant historical scar remained in Kinmen. In October 1949, approximately 9,000 communist troops landed on Kinmen and encountered strong resistance from nationalist forces, including units that later formed the foundation of today's 333rd Brigade. Due to logistical difficulties and lack of reinforcement, the landing force suffered severe losses. The Battle of Guningtou became a painful episode in military history. After the nationalists retreated to Taiwan, remnants of the 11th Division established themselves in Kinmen and, after several reorganizations, eventually became today's 333rd Brigade. More than 70 years have passed, but this historical memory has not faded. Today's 333rd Brigade remains stationed on Kinmen Island, only 3 kilometers from Xiamen, positioned prominently along the southeastern coastline. From a military geographical perspective, it sits along a potential maritime route between the mainland and Taiwan. Kinmen has often been described as an unsinkable aircraft carrier, overlooking the Fujian coastal waterways. The brigade headquarters on Mount Taiwu holds elevated ground, monitoring movements in Xiamen Harbor. Units are deployed in Guningtou, Beishan, and other key locations, forming interlocking defensive coverage. Taiwan describes it as the Iron Wall of Kinmen, and in recent years it has brought in U.S. instructors to strengthen urban warfare and anti-landing training. In May 2023, the brigade's tank units conducted maneuver exercises along Kinmen's eastern coast. In 2024, during live fire drills, it fired training rounds toward the direction of the strait as part of exercises. However, behind the strong posture, there have been internal challenges. During a 2024 exercise, an armored vehicle reportedly stalled shortly after leaving camp, later described as part of drill procedures. Online commentators mocked the aging equipment. There were also reports of disciplinary incidents involving soldiers at another base. Despite being labeled an elite brigade, it has faced criticism regarding discipline and equipment readiness. In terms of modern military comparison, the 333rd Brigade's equipment largely dates back to the previous century. The M60A3 tank, with a 105mm gun and a range of around 3,000 meters, uses older fire control systems and lighter armor compared to more modern main battle tanks. Its air defense missiles have limited range. CM-21 armored vehicles have relatively light armor protection. Communication systems rely on older generation equipment, which could face challenges in electronic warfare environments. Meanwhile, the PLA Eastern Theater Command has developed extensive joint operational capabilities. Type 055 destroyers, advanced fighter aircraft such as the J-20, modern main battle tanks like the Type 99, and long-range rocket artillery provide layered strike capability. In April 2023 joint exercises, The PLA demonstrated integrated sea, air, and land coordination. Kinmen Island covers only about 150 square kilometers, with relatively flat terrain and limited freshwater resources. In a high-intensity conflict scenario, the brigade would face significant operational pressure. If war were to occur, the 333rd Brigade would likely be among the earliest units engaged due to its geographic position. This would be driven not only by military considerations but also by strategic factors. Geographically, Kinmen sits close to mainland coastal routes. Psychologically and historically, it holds symbolic importance tied to earlier battles. Any modern operation would involve long-range precision strikes, electronic warfare, and coordinated amphibious operations. Given Kinmen's limited depth and defensive space, sustained resistance under intense conditions would be extremely difficult. Historical memory surrounding Guningtou remains strong. Should tensions ever escalate into direct conflict, the strategic importance of Kinmen would once again come to the forefront.